The first quick test we do when we get a lot of silver in that's suspicious is we take a rare earth magnet.
Well, the first thing I do is look closely at the original seals and see if those are actually genuine. Silver Dragons recently posted a video of his dealer going through a large lot of silver that he deemed suspicious enough for further testing, and so they used a rare earth magnet and were able to verify not much. They seemed it was pretty genuine silver, and so they put it on the scale and it was a little bit overweight, and so that seemed suspicious, and that was the end of the short. And so a lot of people were a little bit confused about whether or not those bars were genuine, and they were testing in particular a generic TD Bank bar, and those are bars that I'm familiar with, and when I saw them in the video I could immediately tell without any of the tests that they had done prior to that those are definitely not genuine TD Bank generic bars, because TD Bank generic bars were not issued in those perforated seals that you can see in that video. Those definitely are fakes, and I've seen those fakes on eBay in the more recent times, but typically the TD Bank bars will be in original seals such as this, and even the Scotiabank generic bars will be in seals like this, and there's never any sort of a perforated edge. It's kind of like smooth directly in there, and it's kind of a more like different, I would say more brittle type of plastic. So you could definitely tell. I do not know what the large stamp TD Bank bars originally were issued in, because truthfully I've never seen those in the original seal, but it is undoubtedly not going to be in those cheap plastic perforated seals, because that's not something that any of those Canadian bank bars typically were issued in. So definitely be aware. I know that eBay does little to nothing when it comes down to these bars being distributed on their site, because you'll see how many freaking people have already mistakenly bought these, and these same bars are probably ending up in the shop where Silver Dragons is taking that video, and unfortunately those people are probably out of luck, because those bars probably were not genuine. At least they definitely were not authentic TD Bank bars. So you got to be careful who you're buying from and where you're buying from, and you always got to vet the source and do a little bit of research about the things that you're buying, especially when it comes down to vintage stuff. When it comes down to generic TD Bank bars, there's only a few varieties that I'm aware of. There's going to be these TD Bank bars with the mirror front, no serial number, small stamp. The ones you saw in that video, I believe those were large stamp bars, if I'm not mistaken. I've never seen the original seals on them, but I'm willing to bet those mass-produced bars that are being sold on eBay, that have sold hundreds of units in the recent past, are not genuine undiscontinued TD Bank bars that you no longer can easily get, especially here in America. So beware of that. Also, be on the lookout. There's also a generic TD Bank bar that has a serial number on the front. That's going to have a more frosted look to it. So that's another thing that was issued, again, in a similar seal, that it does not have a perforated edge. So definitely be on the lookout for fakes, and beware of where you're buying from.